D. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farzi Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's wonderful to have you along for this fine ride. A lot of interesting things have come out of this game already. The number one thing is just what appears to be a better way about going about your business when it comes to this Philadelphia Eagles offense, a little under center action. We highlighted that yesterday, but it got talked about a little bit more by head coach Nick Sirianni when he addressed the media. He talks about what went into that decision. We heard Jalen Hurts after the game saying it was something that he was pitching to the offense, saying, hey, maybe a little bit over the under center thing. That would help everything else. Let's give it a whirl. And it ended up working out beautifully. Also, Devontae Smith going into the locker room at halftime saying that deep ball was there and that was off of under center. That was off of play action. That was great. And then also the quote people, the hyper-competitive nature of Jalen Hurts. Walking off the field in Minnesota, yesterday Nick Sirianni was asked about what Jalen Hurts said, and what Jalen Hurts had to say was, we're not losers anymore. 2-game losing streak, now back on track. Now they have a chance on Sunday at 1 o'clock to really right the ship and right a wrong. Now, true, you can't take off that loss. You can't take that loss off the record going into the bye week, but you could add another win against a team that spanked you the first time you met them. Thought to be a very inferior opponent, proved true than many people, including myself, a lot better than what I expected them to be. We'll get into that conversation today. And also, Isaiah Rodgers. Not a great game against his former club. I know a lot of people are talking about Carson Wentz and all that. You know, in all honesty, going into this game, the person that invoked more emotion for me was Isaiah Rodgers. Because he's a guy that could come in and help right now. Carson Wentz, I'm over it. I'll never forget it. I'm in the, I guess, forgive but not forget realm of that whole era of Eagles football. Just how an ego can get in the way of so much, and all the conversations about that. You know, I don't want to do that Foles bleep and all that. Yeah, no, I'm good. And then with being able to hand the ball directly from him to a quarterback that would take you to 2 Super Bowls, win you a Super Bowl, be the runner-up in the MVP voting. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. No ill will. More power to you. Good luck. But Isaiah Rodgers, after this game, gave a great compliment to Jalen Hurts, and we'll get into that conversation. Also, I want to talk a little bit about the 76ers and Joel Embiid, and really how I think even the most optimistic Sixers fan, let's just say a month ago, ballpark a month ago, I don't think could have expected to be in the position that they're in now. And that position is VJ Edgecombe looks like a baller. I mean, the athleticism is insane. Yeah, look, all the things that we talked about before the season when they drafted him that we thought were shortcomings, shooting, shot selection in general, knocking down the three-point shot, all that still needs improvement. But what I'll also say is all the things that we also knew about him in the positive light, the athleticism, he's more athletic. From the time going from Baylor to Summer League to preseason, he's more athletic every step of the way. Like, I thought you saw an athlete at that age and you go, wow, he's pretty athletic. That's great. He is freakishly athletic. So I would love to see that on the floor as much as possible this season. And I think you're going to see a whole lot of it. Tyrese Maxey looking good, looking quick, looking strong. Brief moments, very brief moments of, oh, maybe the court vision will be a little bit better this year, especially with trying to play the role of a point guard. But above all else, Joel Embiid. A month ago, I wouldn't have been shocked if he wasn't going to play until January. Reading the ESPN article, knowing the injury history of Joel Embiid, I wouldn't have been shocked. I want to take accountability. I want this to be my job. I want this to be I want this to go exactly how I want it to go. Okay, great. How's this going to look? And then a month ago, you get the video put out there of him going one-on-one with a coach, a little 6-second video, no knee brace, little shimmy. He's not in a practice jersey. He's just in a T-shirt, essentially, with the cutoff sleeves. You got to show off the guns. And he looks good. Like, just from what little you can tell. It was like, first off, he's on the court. All right. Second, he's on the court in Camden, not with like some, shot coach I've never heard of. This is good. Working with the Sixers, being around his teammates. This is good for that new culture that we heard rumblings of around the draft. And then, I'm sorry, whoa. He's going to play in the preseason? And in between that, you saw him actually wearing a practice jersey, threading a needle of a pass there. I think it was to VJ Edgecombe. And then he plays in the preseason finale and looks great in the preseason finale. And as I've said already, I don't care that it was against, an 18-year-old, essentially, who was D'ing him up throughout that night. I don't care it was the scrub-a-dub-dubs of the Minnesota Timberwolves. It wasn't about that, okay? It wasn't about that. It was about whether or not he looked healthy, whether or not he could run. And he looked great. Went coast to coast a couple times. Wasn't afraid of contact. I would like him to be a little bit more afraid of contact. But playing in the preseason finale is bonkers to me. And then also along the way, Paul George. He gets his knee scoped after, while doing off-season workouts and all that. So now it's like, okay, you're going to have him in the first month of the season, the first 2 months of the season. When is Paul George going to be available? Then they show him at least working out in Camden. Like, okay, all right, what's going on here? And then he goes from 3-on-3 one day to the next day going 5-on-5. And now, in talking to Keith Pompey, who I do the Locked On 76ers show with, Paul George could be available within the first week of the season, or 2 weeks, I should say. So if you would now, the only real negative here, because look, Dembona has looked a lot better. Quentin Grimes coming back here, and I think he's just going to slot in beautifully when everybody else is healthy. Also, I love the idea of the three guards out there, whether it's Oubre, whether it's Grimes, with Edgecombe, with Maxey. I love it. I love it, like almost like a NASCAR package you could throw out there. I love it. But Jared McCain is the one thing you look at and go, damn, if you knew you just had that starting out the season, you'd really be starting off in Boston on the right foot. So I wait eagerly for Jared McCain to get back up and running with his thumb injury. And I think we got another couple of weeks here before he's reevaluated, and then we'll know what the steps are going forward to get him back on the court for the Sixers. But I don't think the most optimistic Sixers fan could look back on what's transpired over the last 30, 35 days and go, oh, yeah, I totally saw this coming. Joel Embiid, healthy for the opener, totally saw that coming. Paul George only missed about 5 games. Well, yeah, totally saw that coming. The guards looking as on the same page as they've looked. Yeah, I don't think you saw that coming either. So I'm excited. And yes, it is all under the umbrella of, unfortunately, somehow finding a happy mix of, I'm going to enjoy all this. And I've seen a lot of people in the comments over the last month or so. I'm going to enjoy all this for as long as it lasts. For as long as this lasts, I'm going to enjoy it. Yeah, I'm in that same school as well. But that also implies that you're waiting for the shoe to drop and all of a sudden an injury comes up. Or some BS minute restriction, or a tough loss, or VJ Edgecombe shows great promise in the first month, the league adjusts, and then he's terrible. Or I don't know. You're waiting. Now, obviously, the main concern is injury. So I'm with a lot of people in that, you know what? I'm going to ride this wave. And then hopefully this wave is still breaking, just breaking as you get to the playoffs. And then the real ride starts. That's where I'm at under 10-9-8-76ers. And also listen to Tyrese Maxey on Media Day, right before they went to Abu Dhabi, talk about how this team needs a new culture, more or less. A brand of basketball, style of play, that no matter who is out there, this is what 76ers fans can expect from this team. I'm rooting for it. I'm not betting on it, but I'm rooting for it. But I know when Maxey's on the floor, we're always going to get 120% at 120 miles per hour on the court. It's a matter of how this is going to come in. The other thing on top of this is not just Joel Embiid being healthy, but also the style of play you're going to see from Joel Embiid as a facilitator more this year, maybe. I do remind people that when you talk about Joel Embiid as a facilitator, it's not just because of the injury and trying to preserve his body to get the most he can out of it over the next 4 years that he's due, I don't know, I think about $1 billion. But really what it is, 300 million. Really what it is, closer to 400 million. Really what it is that when Joker won the MVP, or excuse me, when Joker won the championship and Joel Embiid won the MVP, if you remember the next season, the following season, when they face off against each other, Joel Embiid went over to Joker and said, you're the man. You got that championship. And you saw Joel Embiid's assists go up. I think it was a full assist or more, a little more than an assist on average per night. Now with what you got around you, I want to see more of that. I want to see less foul hunting for Joel Embiid. I don't want to see more of him setting up his teammates around him. Now, I'm not saying I need him to be passive. I need him to be shy. If he's got to play, make the play. But if there's another play that could set up another teammate, backdoor cut, the play he had against the Timberwolves there in the preseason where gave it off to Oubre, screen for Oubre, backdoor cut slam, beautiful play. Him at the top of the key, or at the elbow, rather, I should say, at the elbow, finding Tyrese Maxey open for a three. Little give and go with Tyrese Maxey, little pick and roll, little dribble handoff, whatever it might be. Run all that. I love that. But the fighting to get to the basket, bowling over guys, I don't need that. Especially when you talk about the third quarter against Timberwolves there in the preseason finale, where it's a little bit of a scare for Joel Embiid. So that's pretty much. I think I just unloaded everything there I want to talk about with the Sixers, so you know where I stand there. Also, hats off to the Flyers yesterday. Owen Tippett coming up with 2 goals for the orange and black against the Kraken. Bad night for Seattle. They get spanked by the Flyers 5-2. That was nice. Vladar was in net, by the way, making 21 saves. He's 3-1-0 to start out this season. The Flyers have 3 wins. So there you go. Seeing who was it? Forrester went up there with the top shelf for the goal. Where mom keeps the peanut butter, goes top shelf on the Kraken. So nice to see the Flyers get another win last night as well. Let's spin it back to your Philadelphia Eagles and get into some of the comments made by Nick Sirianni yesterday, because I did find some of this enlightening. I didn't find this to be coach speak. I found a lot of it to be enlightening. And how dare I? I'll get to Brandon Graham a little bit later as well, and what he could be eyeing up. A pretty somewhat significant number here in his return to the Philadelphia Eagles. How about that? First and foremost, let's talk about that Smitty play. So Nick Sirianni kind of sets the scene, and he was asked about Devontae Smith on that play action pass, catching that 79-yard touchdown from Jalen Hurts off the play action out of under center. Love to see it. Love to hear it. Here's how it came together. And yeah, Nick Sirianni said it's not an abnormal thing for players to talk to coaches.
We talk about everything, and definitely, I know Smitty was in communication with offensive coaches, what he was saying. That's pretty standard, in between series in the locker room. You're getting everybody's input, and Smitty does a great job of communicating what he's seeing out there. He's really, he's got great football instincts and football IQ. So, he gives you that confidence to be able to call things in those scenarios when he sees something. And, we got a lot of guys, we have high football IQ guys. We have a lot of guys like that. And so that gives you a lot of confidence to be able to go, just like I kind of talked about with 4th down yesterday, that you got confidence in the players to go make a play.
Yeah, damn right you do. And that's what he was talking about yesterday or 2 days ago after the game, where it was like, hey, we went for it there. Thanks for making me right. This is such an important thing. One of the really odd things that sticks out to me about players communicating with coaches, there's one that everybody knows, and that's the most obvious. That was Nick Foles going over to Doug Peterson. You want Philly? Okay. Philly special. Lane, touchdown. That's the most obvious. The other is one that I go back to a lot with the Snow Globe game, and that's Kerry Sconces Williams going over to Chip Kelly and be like, hey, just so you know, defensive backs can't cut out there at all in this snow. So don't be afraid to throw it deep. Bang 8, touchdown, that kind of thing. You got to talk. You got to have communication. And that's the biggest thing that jumped out to me from this win over the Vikings. Look, I here's what I don't understand with a lot of people with Jalen Hurts. People act like Jalen Hurts is some project. They grade him on a curve. What's the word for this? I feel like a lot of times when Jalen Hurts has a game like he had against the Vikings or a game like he had in the second half against the Rams, people pat him on the head and be like, see, good job, Jalen. Told you he could do this. Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback. Okay? I know some people are afraid to say that. They feel like it's a hot take. I don't feel like there's more of an obvious thing to say than Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback. And when I watch an elite quarterback play, and I've also said, just to put another number on it, number 2, in my opinion, second best in the league. There's one quarterback I take over Jalen Hurts. That guy's name is Patrick Mahomes, and that should also be obvious. But Jalen Hurts, flat out, is a winner. He can beat you with his arm. He can beat you with his legs. He could have a pre-snap read that knows where he's going immediately, like he did on the A.J. Brown second touchdown. I love this guy. But because I see him as an elite quarterback, I do what I think everybody should do, which is grade him as an elite quarterback and not like he's some work in progress. Yeah, sure. Every athlete can always get better at something. You talk about the greats, they're always adding a little wrinkle to their game or something just to keep people guessing. But when I watched Jalen Hurts yesterday, that's the quarterback I know he could be. If he played like that against the Giants, no doubt in my mind they win. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't mean the numbers. I don't mean the passing. And I'll say this, I hate the perfect passer rating. I hate the idea of a perfect game in football. That just drives me absolutely bananas. But when it comes to Jalen Hurts, what I loved about his game was his escapability because he has that on tap all the time. He had opportunities to do it against the Giants. He didn't do it. In this game, he had opportunities to do it against the Vikings. He did do it. Even on a play like the first touchdown to A.J. Brown, where he drops back and the offensive line, and I've been critical of the offensive line. I've talked about how terrible they've been in the run game, but they've been good in the pass game. In the run game, awful. But pass game, Jalen Hurts drifts out of the pocket because he doesn't have a throwing lane. He gets away from that, even though the offensive linemen are doing a great job holding their blocks on that A.J. Brown touchdown. There's that little point downfield. A.J. takes off, bang, touchdown. Beautiful. Would have loved to see more opportunities like that. The ability to get out of the pocket, keep your eyes downfield, and make a play like he did on the 3rd and 13 to A.J. Brown. Magnifique. Okay? He had opportunities to do that in the Broncos game and didn't do it. I look at him as an elite quarterback, so I grade him as an elite quarterback, not some project, not some guy that, the Eagles are really hoping it works out. Jalen Hurts is the first ever quarterback we've had in the Super Bowl era in Philadelphia that had played in the Super Bowl, went back to the Super Bowl and won it. And now he's here as a franchise guy. That's never happened before. So I know this is new to a lot of people, but I'm not afraid to look at this and go, hold on, if you just would have taken away everything and told me this resume of this quarterback and what he has done, both with Saquon Barkley, without Saquon Barkley, and now with a very struggle-filled run game, what he's doing this year, the team's 5-2. Yeah, I feel kind of good about that guy. I feel real good about that guy. Wait a minute. He's been a runner-up in the MVP. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to another Super Bowl. Won it. He's been to the playoffs every year. He's been a full-time starter. This is interesting. He has a play that's an automatic first down or touchdown. Wow, that sounds pretty good. Oh, he could beat you with his arm and he could beat you with his legs. Oh, and he handles the protection there for the offensive line. Oh, that's interesting. He could beat you on his pre-snap read too. That sounds like a pretty elite quarterback to me. But his name's Jalen Hurts. Oh, he must suck. So I don't grade him as like as if he's a project. I grade him for what he is as an elite quarterback. And when he doesn't play to an elite level, that's where you go, maybe that interception there against the Giants. Oh, it's only the first interception. I don't care how many interceptions it's been. I care about the wrong decision, not reading the defense properly on that play, and also not waiting when you had time to find A.J. Brown. Like, to me, you look up and you see how, the route that Dotson's running, the coverage there on the outside, he's running an out, And he also throws a bad ball. That's the third mistake right there. Not only was it a bad decision, a bad read, but also bad ball. And you know that A.J. Brown's going to be streaking over the top. Yeah, then you should probably go for A.J. Brown. I referenced against the Giants the Dallas Goedert play. I think it was a 24-yard reception by Dallas Goedert over the middle of the field. That looks great until you go back and watch the all-22 and realize Jahad Dotson was also open over the top when Jalen Hurts had all day to throw. That's the better choice. That's what an elite quarterback would do. He's an elite quarterback. He didn't do it on that play. That's how I grade Jalen Hurts. Now, when you talk about communication and you talk about putting him in the best possible position, Jalen Hurts will make calls. Devontae Smith obviously made calls in this situation. And one of the things I really loved about this, and we talked about it yesterday with Devontae Smith, was that Jalen, when he's really feeling it, when he feels like everything's going right for him, for the offense, for the team, whatever it might be, he'll make a play call and then he'll say something slick. That's what Devontae Smith said. And then he'll say something slick. Like he knows this is the one that's gonna get him. Whether it was the play action touchdown, whether it was the drop back to AJ for the second touchdown, whatever, for AJ Brown's second touchdown, he just knows they got it. Or it's his communication with Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley looking at him last year in the Rams game and being like, yeah, watch this. Bang, touchdown. That's when you know you got everybody on the same page, and that's also what Devontae Smith said after the game against the Vikings here. Feels like everyone's on the same page. And they can cook when they do that. And that all starts with communication. The other thing is the under center. This is what Nick Sirianni had to say about how the under center plays came together against the Vikings.
Yeah, obviously yesterday there was a little bit more under center runs. So you mesh up your play actions and your passes with some of those things. So some things that we studied in that little mini buy. It's things that we looked at, and that's kind of why you see some of the things that you saw yesterday. It's always going to be important that your run and your play action pass game mesh together, because the defense has to go from a run defense to be a pass rusher, which is difficult for a defensive line. I know we talk a lot about that.
You gotta see what you haven't done a lot of in the past. When people are saying you're unpredictable, or excuse me, when people are saying you're predictable, you have to do something that's a little out of character. And I'll give you an example. And just let me preface this by saying, the people that want Tanner McKee to start, can you just sign something? Like, I don't know. I was thinking about maybe just putting it out on social media. Just be like, for all the people that wanted Tanner McKee to start, please put your @ here. Just so we could keep a list. And then we could just, wipe away a conversation later where you have an opinion. It's just, we're good. This isn't a rip, but it's just something I found very interesting. In the game last year that Tanner McKee started at the end of the season, there was one thing he did that, just because I watch every snap from Jalen Hurts, there was one thing Tanner McKee did that I never really saw from Jalen Hurts. And it certainly wasn't in this same vein. And what I mean by that is, like, I've seen Jalen Hurts, like, do a play action pass and not look at the defense or turn his back to the defense. But Tanner McKee, when he came in, did like a triple toe loop, okay? He did like a full pirouette, 360, turned his back to the defense. And it wasn't a broken play like he went to the wrong side to hand off and then had to reverse and do it the other way. It wasn't like that. It was like a designed play. And, like, I just went, huh. Like, it was just something you said, you take a second to realize what just happened. And I realized I never see that with Jalen Hurts. Why don't the Eagles do that with Jalen Hurts? And I'm like, is Jalen Hurts just not comfortable? I don't need him to do a pirouette, but it made me think about the simple single back, max protect like they had in this Vikings game here when Fred Johnson came in, Saquon Barkley's lined up behind Jalen Hurts under center, and Jalen clearly turns his back to the offensive line, to the line of scrimmage, puts it in the belly of Saquon, pulls it out. He has a couple beats there. Let Smitty get downfield. Boom, touchdown. It's a play like that. So you go, oh, that was interesting. Like, I remember watching the game with Seth at the Tinderbox there in Haverford. They're enjoying a fine cigar. And I remember seeing Jalen run that play, pull the ball out of Saquon's gut. And then I go, oh, damn. and then the touchdown. And I turned right to Seth because Seth has been banging the drum on this for years. Like, where's a good old-fashioned standard play action? That's doing something you haven't really done before. And also lining up in a formation where everyone and their mother's being like, here we go, run up the middle. It's going to go for 4 yards, whatever. And they don't do that. Ooh, was that unpredictable? Good job, boys. And also makes me feel like you kind of understand where you've been at offensively as a scheme overall when you're doing cartwheels over the shovel passes in Tampa, the tush-push sweep in Tampa, and you're doing cartwheels over a play-action pass that I want to say you could even go back to like Tecmo Bowl, Joe Montana football for Sega Genesis, and play-action passes are there. For any kid that was just picking up the video games, learning how to play, learning formations, as I learned formations as a wee boy. It was in there. It's been there for a long time. Walter Payton football for Sega Genesis? I'm sorry, scusi. Sega Master System. Yeah, that's right. I shouldn't be doing cartwheels over seeing these plays be called now by the Eagles offense. And then finally, this is what makes me feel so damn good about Jalen Hurts. Two more compliments for Jalen Hurts. One from Nick Sirianni, the other from Isaiah Rodgers, former Eagle, now defensive back, of course, for the Minnesota Vikings. But here is so the footage that they got of Jalen Hurts walking off the field was him screaming, basically, we're not losers anymore. Him saying we're not losers anymore. So Nick Sirianni was asked about that. And at the same time, he had a little bit of a request as he gave his answer.
Sort of how he's wired.
Yeah, hyper-competitive guy. You love that. Wants to win. A lot of people want to win, but are they willing to do the things that winning requires? And I think that's what you get with Jalen. He wants to win in the worst way, and he's willing to do anything to that, and everything that winning requires. All that, always that path to the locker room is always an emotional time too. I don't think he can put too much stock into what we say into that. Probably have to get you guys out of that area so we can just walk freely into there and say what's on our mind at that particular case, because it's such an emotional game. But yeah, I just, the easiest way to sum that up, Tim, is that he's just, will do everything, wants to win in the worst way, and will do everything that winning requires.
This is why I don't understand lists that come out in the offseason and they give the participation trophies. And all the lists you see are lists that have Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, who's reigning NFL MVP, Lamar Jackson, two-time NFL MVP. Jalen Hurts has been to the promised land twice. He's brought home the trophy already once. I know this is going to sound like I'm giving a participation trophy, but look, MVP awards aren't nothing. I'll acknowledge that. Jalen Hurts was the second most valuable player in the league one year. That's pretty damn good. He was the most valuable player, if you really want to break it down, in the NFC. Of course, it ended up going to Patrick Mahomes, but that's pretty good. And Saquon Barkley wasn't here that year. Then he has the wherewithal, unlike the McNabb-T.O. dispute, unlike the Wentz-Foles dispute, he has the ability to put the ego aside and go, oh, Saquon Barkley running behind this offensive line, that's historically incredible. I'm going to remove myself from feeling like, oh, no, I'm the franchise quarterback. I have to make plays. I have to be the team that wins. No, in my mind, Jalen Hurts does not sound like a bad impression of Richard Nixon. But anyway, in my mind, we got to run the ball. No, I'm not going to shoehorn myself into this. So for Jalen to step aside and say, oh, yeah, let me just let this dominate, and then when they need me, I'll be here, i.e. the Pittsburgh Steelers game, i.e. the Super Bowl, i.e. second half against the Rams, i.e. this game against the Vikings, I'll be there. I'll be there. And nothing, honestly, pisses me off more than this game against the Vikings and the second half against the Rams and seeing people comment about, I told you Jalen could do this. And I'm like, why are you still speaking to the deniers? The people that deny the level of talent that this guy has, the level of competitiveness that this guy has. Why is it so easy for people to doubt? And I feel like a broken record saying it, but I'm like, hey, remember that Super Bowl? That was fun, where he did that on the biggest possible stage in American sport that he could do it on. That's a pretty big deal. Did you miss that game? So it's like that. But I don't understand the people that just throw out the window the competitive nature of this guy and the knack for winning that he has and the many ways that he could get to that win. That's what the guy's just got it. It's hard to explain with other guys. Like, you can look at a lot of guys, like Aaron Rodgers, since he won the Super Bowl, he hasn't won another. You know, you're talking about what, 3 MVPs since he won that Super Bowl, 4 MVPs since he won that Super Bowl. Yeah, it's hard to win. The fact that Jalen can get over that hump, be back to a Super Bowl, and win the second time, it's pretty remarkable. That he could have a team, lead a team on a 10-game winning streak, yeah, that's pretty remarkable. So I'm not someone that's just going to throw it out and say that this is, because of what he has around him. Well, unfortunately, this year, what he's had around him, yeah, sure, A.J. Brown's still here. Devontae Smith is still here. Dallas Goedert is still. The offensive line in pass blocking situations, they've done their job for the most part. Still, I would still want to call them great, but they've been good. Certainly, in comparison to the run game, they've been fantastic. But the run game just ain't there. So a lot of this is falling on Jalen's shoulders. So I don't like just giving out participation trophies because, look, I know all these other guys are talented. It's not like they're terrible. But Jalen's the one that is tested. Oh, if you give Joe Burrow this, well, he's got a pretty good receiving core if he can stay healthy, which he can't. What if Josh Allen had this? Oh, yeah, I don't know. He might wet the bed like he's been doing in the AFC Championship game. You know what I know is going to happen, though, with Jalen Hurts? He's going to go out there. He's going to win. So I'm going to go ahead and back Jalen on that. And it sounds like his former teammate and opponent on Sunday in Minnesota would do the same thing. Isaiah Rodgers, after the game Sunday afternoon in the locker room, was asked about what makes Jalen so good.
Despite what everybody said in media, like, he wins the games. You know, I think that's the one thing that matters as a quarterback in the league. You know, one day he can throw for 300 like he did today, and one day he can throw for 20 yards next week. So he finds ways to win games, and those type of quarterbacks that you want.
He's not afraid to take shots either.
Nah, he can do it all. He can run, he can pass. So, you know, yeah.
I love when people say the media. Because the media is also comprised of former players now, too. It's not, where they talk a lot. And like, if you want to tell me that last year there was no easier place, and Dan Orlovsky said this, and I respect Dan's opinion a lot. If you want to acknowledge where the easiest place was to play quarterback last year, it was in Philadelphia. That's a statement of fact, as far as I'm concerned. Statement of fact. This year, it hasn't been so easy. And now you're talking about a football team sitting here looking like they're finally putting the pieces together. And when they're putting the pieces together, they were only 4-2. Now they're a 5-2 football team, and they have an opportunity to go into the bye at 6-2. And I think everyone's feeling pretty damn good about that, especially when you talk about already playing the Chiefs, the Rams, the Buccaneers. That you kind of feel good. The Vikings were a team that people were afraid of last year. How about the Lions last night? Wow. Boy, oh boy, I can't wait for that matchup. Eagles are going to go into the bye week. They're going to come out of the bye week. You got the Giants going into the bye week. Then you got at Green Bay. Then you host the Lions, at Dallas, host the Bears, at Chargers, host the Raiders. I can hear the people now going, this could be a letdown game. Everyone's got to be careful about a letdown game. Oh, really? When you were playing in the NFL, did you think about letdown games like that? No? Okay. Moving on. So that's where I'm at right now with your Philadelphia Eagles, and that's where I'm at right now with Jalen Hurts. Brandon Graham set to make his return to the Philadelphia Eagles. I was a little surprised by some of the people out there that were saying, like, he should stay retired and all that. I heard the comedian Daniel Tosh once do a bit on being a backup quarterback, and he's a big sports fan. He's a Dolphins fan, actually. But I heard him do a bit on being a backup quarterback and how people say it's sad when a great quarterback is a backup quarterback. And he's like, I'm sorry, being a backup quarterback? What's the league minimum for that? Like $750,000? Yeah, I think I'll do that. Oh, you want me to be a third string quarterback? What's going to be the minimum for that? About $650,000? Yeah, give me that clipboard. Like, I love when guys keep playing. Like, if you love something that much, keep on rocking, man. More power to you, as far as I'm concerned. So if Brandon Graham has the ability to come back and help this team after missing the first 7 games of the season, maybe 8 games of the season, maybe he comes back after the bye, more power to you, bruh. First off, the Eagles are desperate. They asked me yesterday on Fox 29, do you think this is a desperate situation? I was like, hell yes. What? You literally brought a guy out who was semi-retired in Zadarius Smith. He played a couple games, and he was like, yep, nope, not for me. Deuces. And then he retired again, or I should just say retired. Your Nolan Smith has obviously been hurt this year. You're thinking about moving your rookie who was playing well at linebacker next to Zach Bond, moving him more to an edge rusher role. Is that going to be a cure-all? No. Jalix Hunt, pick 6, more power to you. He's been disappointing this year. I would say less than baby steps, fetus steps forward this year. Azeez Ojulari's been banged up. Josh Uche's meh. I think he was the second DN to get a sack, and that was in this game. Or maybe he got a tackle for loss. Forget what it was. But either way, you're desperate at the defensive end, at the edge rusher position. So if you can get Brandon Graham in here, who, by the way, at 37 years old, 36 years old, was playing some of the best football we've ever seen him play, yeah. Get on the treadmill, get on the bike, eat kale. I don't know, whatever it is healthy people do. And then you get out there and you start playing football again. Hell yeah, man. Now, there is something interesting with Brandon Graham as far as the numbers go. He is 3rd on the Eagles' all-time sack list. All right? He moved ahead of Clyde Simmons. How about that? Moved ahead of Clyde Simmons by a half sack last year. By a half sack. So, odds are, if he finishes out this season, he'll still be the 3rd leading sacker in Philadelphia Eagles history behind some guy named Reggie White. Trent Cole, then Brandon Graham. Reggie White, 124 sacks as an Eagle. Trent Cole, 85.5, 85 and a half sacks in his career as an Eagle. Brandon Graham, 76 and a half sacks. Clyde Simmons had 76. So he has an opportunity, and I would say this would be more in the realm of likely, that if Brandon Graham gets 3.5 sacks, you're talking about, again, he's already top 3, but only 3 Eagles have 80 sacks to their name this year. For reference, last year, Brandon Graham did come up with 3.5 sacks. The year before that, 3 sacks. Last year, 3.5 sacks, and only played in the 11 games, of course, before getting hurt. And then in 2022, he came up with an 11-sack season, a Pro Bowl year for him. How about that? Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. That was the year he was robbed of Comeback Player of the Year. Excuse me, not Pro Bowl year. So there you go. So, yeah, that's what you're looking at. That's what you're looking at this year with BG. And I love it. There you go. Mentioned already, I'm very excited about the Flyers and how they're starting off the season, 3-2-1. The game last night, Owen Tippett came up with a couple of goals, 2 goals to be exact. That real nice goal from Bobby Brink 2, Tyson Forza. Oh, I didn't mention this. The Travis Konechny goal. Who got it? Zamula. Mishkov skates into the zone, passes back to the circle to Zamula. Zamula goes in towards the net, center ice cross pass, in the crease, TK goal. A thing of beauty. Tic-tac-toe. Vladar, by the way, was in net last night. 21 saves. Hey, let me tell you right now about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Game Time app has you covered. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's get into the chat checks here. Wonderful people doing on this fine Tuesday morning. Sean Gillespie, hello. Sean Kilrain, hello. Jason A., what's going on? Rye, I was waiting for the Central Time thing. I was hitting go on the show at like 6:40 today, and then I got the blue screen of death from my old laptop over here. And I was like, this will be a minute. So that was actually 10 minutes, unfortunately. But Rye, good morning. Jason A. with Flyers. Oh, you were at the Flyers game last night. There you go. What a game. Flyers scored 4 goals in a period and a half. That's pretty good. Hardcore for all. Good morning. Jason A. First half of the game, I should say. There you go. The first half. 3 periods, of course, yes. The Eagles have the highest winning strength of victory in the NFL. 0.621. Strength of victory is the combined win-loss rate. Yeah, something I haven't subscribed to, but I like that. Okay. 4th in the NFL. Holy pots and pans. Yeah, Sean Gillespie, an improved Giants and Packers and a very dangerous Lions team upcoming for the Eagles, clutching my heart early, calling for Elizabeth. I think you have talked about this before, Sean. Sean. Coming home to my grandmother's house in Dundalk, Baltimore, Maryland, for a year that I lived there in my youth. That was on as after school television, Sanford and Son. So my brother and I sit down, have a little post school snack. And then I think it was Punky Brewster after that. What a lineup. What a time to be a kid. Ninja Turtles shortly thereafter. My son, by the way, Leonardo, he is going to be Leonardo the Ninja Turtle for Halloween, which is not anything I pushed. But I'm damn proud. Jason A. Hello, the stadium. They are messaging rebuilt. What? The stadium, they are massaging rebuild still? Messaging rebuild still? What's going on? I don't even know. Jalen Hurts last 22 games, including the postseason, 52 touchdowns, 6 turnovers. That seems like it's good. I think that's good. Darkwing Ducky, so their identity is passing team until Saquon and the O-line get right, hopefully after the bye. Here's the thing about identity. Last year, there was a clear identity. They were a running team, and I'm fine with that. But in 2022, they were that was Smitty, A.J. Brown, DeAndre Swift, all 3,000 yards. Their identity was whatever it took to win. And I loved that about that team. Whatever it took to win, that's their identity. Our identity is the only identity that matters. Winners, that's it. So, the idea, oh, no, our identity is a passing team. Your identity is you win the damn game. That's your identity. I'm waiting for that Sixers scheduled loss. Oh, Natalie, aren't we all? Oh, Farzi's talking about the Washington owner that has a basketball team in Philly. Keep forgetting Philly isn't a hockey town. Right? Aziz Al-Shair should have been ejected for his late hit. Al-Shair continues to have some of the dirtiest hits every game. I didn't see it. Was that the scrum I saw on the sidelines with the ref protecting that other guy? Is that what I saw? Where mom keeps it. Shout out to my old friend at NBC Sports Philadelphia, Katie Emmer, who's back in Minnesota now, but she gave me that one. He goes top shelf with the mom, where mom keeps the peanut butter. I think there was a play-by-play guy in Minnesota that would write out the fans, tweet out the fans, what should be my next goal call? And somebody said that one, and he was like, there you go. Biscuit in the basket's another classic one. I don't know. I love all those hockey terms. Jason A, hello. I bought 4 beers, a slice of pizza, chicken fingers, and fries at Chickens and Pete's in the stadium, and it all came out to almost $150. That does get you. I took my kids to their first baseball game this past year, and it's just like, oh, this is half a ticket to Italy. That's how I do everything in my mind, by the way. Like, I repaired some drywall in my house, and I'm like, am I going to pay somebody to come in and do it when I know how to do it? If I pay somebody in, that's a full flight to Italy. So I'll just do it. And I did it. It may take it a week or two, but I did it. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, this is a 2-foot by 4-foot project. And then you open it up and it's like, oh, mold. Cool. Let me take care of that. Now you got to peel back until you don't see the mold anymore. And then you got to kill it. You got to bleach it. You got to put kills on it. Then you got to patch it. Then you got to drywall it. Or excuse me, then you got to, mud it up. All that fun stuff, man. Just good times. Just good times. But anyway, that's one flight to Italy. Sean Cohen, Hurts loves to silence the haters. It's so Jordan. Yeah, that's pretty much true. I do agree with that. Oh, yeah, Baker Mayfield did blow last night. That's the game that I really did watch. Baker Mayfield, I saw Penei Sewell miss that block downfield for Jahmyr Gibbs, who is in on my fantasy. Yeah, sorry. And I was like, damn it, Sewell. Damn it. I'm with Lane Johnson on everything he says about you. But yeah, then the next play, I think it was next play or two, they got him into the end zone for his second touchdown. Big night for him. Tecmo Bowl, you're welcome. Did I say Techno? No, Tecmo Bowl. Yeah, Miss Guzzi. Need BG in the locker room as a guy, babysit for Jalen Carter, example, spitting on Dak. Yeah, I've heard that a lot from people. Like, if BG was there, that wouldn't happen. He would have corralled him the way. Not that BG ever did anything wildly inappropriate like that or terrible, but BG's fun. Like, for instance, I forget which game it was. I forget who they were playing. It might have been San Francisco in Philly. And if you remember, that was like the chicken sandwich craze in Philly where it was like, I think it was Popeyes versus Chick-fil-A or something. I don't remember. And I didn't have one. But anyway, Brandon Graham kept referring to sacks as chicken sandwiches. And as pregame warmups are going on, he's yelling over at the other side of the other quarterback, being like, I'm going to get my chicken sandwich. I'm going to get my chicken sandwich. You know, boy, I'm going to get my chicken sandwich. And it's like, if you're the other team, are you literally being like, hey, that's not nice? You're probably laughing. Natalie's like that one. Fetus steps forward. There you go. That's a new comedy on CBS. Fetus steps forward. Danny, hi. What's going on, buddy? Oh, the hit on Sam Darnold out of bounds. Got to go back and look at it. I didn't pay one lick of attention to the Seattle game last night. Sean Gillespie also saying, interesting to see how the pans out for BG. We better address cornerback 2 as well. I agree. Also, Cam Jurgens, no update. I'm not expecting good news, but I'll keep my fingers crossed. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Coming up a little bit later today, 10 o'clock, Keith Pompey and I got you covered with Locked On 76ers. Make sure you're going over to Locked On 76ers after the show wraps and like and subscribe. Flyers aren't back at it till tomorrow. Or no, I think it's Thursday. Miss Scusi. I think they're at Thursday. Because Sixers start their season tomorrow. Yeah. Flyers are in Ottawa against the Senators on Thursday. So there you go. 76ers start their season tomorrow night in Boston against the Jason Tatumless Boston Celtics. That's a 7:30 tip-off. I very much look forward to that one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You guys are fantastic as per usual. We'll be back with you guys for Locked On 76ers at 10 o'clock. Then back with you guys tomorrow morning for the Farzy Show, of course. Look forward to hearing from Vic Fangio today, from Kevin Patullo today, Michael Clay as well. Just their take on the Eagles' win over the Vikings and what Vic Fangio plans to do to stop Jackson Dart from scrambling about in the backfield. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. Have a great rest of your night, or excuse me, great rest of your day, everybody. Be back with you guys later on.